Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to my channel. My name is Micah and I have used my Essence and Catrice products that I showed you at the start of February and early March enough to be able to give you an update on all of the new Essence and Catrice products that came out for the spring-summer season. So if you don't know, Essence and Catrice every year have two different collections. They take out tons of product from their main collection and then update the line for the spring-summer season. They roll out these updates differently at different time points in different areas. I'm happy to just live in an area where they do it every single time like clockwork. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that you have like an updated idea of all of the products that I showed you in those two videos. It's always first Catrice, then Essence. So I've had a little bit more time with the Catrice products than with the Essence ones. I do have to point that out. But with that being said, I have been able to give everything enough of a try where I'm like, yes, I would love that. I love that. I would try it again. Or this was just really not my cup of tea. There are a couple of products here that have already been put into my daily makeup rotation because I love them that much. So that's why I thought it was high time to talk to you about this update. So let's just get to these products. Essence and Catrice both came out with a bunch of new tools, and there were a couple that weren't really my cup of tea. Case in point, the Catrice sponge that they came out with. I still use the little stand that it came with. It came with a little like plastic tripod for your sponge, and that I really like. The sponge itself is just like a brick. It's like punching you in the face every single time you try using it. Not a good thing. Essence came out with a new brush. It's a little bit of a funky cut, but it worked well enough, but I do feel that it absorbed a lot of product. And it does clean very, very well though, because I have cleaned it since using it and it works okay. I just don't like how much product it soaks up. I prefer also a brush that's perhaps a little bit bigger because this is a little bit small. And then Catrice had a new highlight and a new concealer brush, and these are nice. These are actually really nice. They are from their Triangle Artist line, just like the sponge and some other brushes that they're already doing. These are really nice, soft brushes. If you're looking for an affordable concealer or highlight brush, I do really like those. But the star of the show, in terms of tools, is the Quick and Easy Brush Cleanser Pot. I've been using this thing every single day. This is like a color switch, which was made first by Vero Mona, and it's just like a bit like a spongy material, and you can use it to wipe powder off of your brushes. It's been making such a difference whenever I've tried to do something a bit more bright. I have been able to sort of get most of the shade off before I move on to something else. Loving that. Been using it almost every day. Primers, they also came out with some new primers. Let's start with Essence. They came out with the You Better Work Gym Proof Primer, which is supposed to have an SPF and be sweat proof. This didn't really it just didn't really make much of a difference. Let's just be honest here. I've used it a few times, but I haven't used it like for an entire week straight to really be able to see how it sort of like wears throughout the day, after a dance class or to a dance party. I haven't really tried it that way, but I just wasn't wowed by it. It's a primer. I think that if you just don't have too many demands in a primer, then this is okay, but it's not really hydrating. It's not really blurring. Might make my makeup last a little bit longer, but just a little bit. And they came out with an eye primer, and sadly, like the face primer, this wasn't really my favorite. I wore this a few times, but I found that my eye makeup still broke up even though I wore this. I do have to say I always double prime, so maybe that is the issue. But I feel that if I don't do that, my eyeshadow won't last as long. So the Essence eyeshadow primer, I'm not a big fan of. Then Catrice primers, they came out with an under eye primer, which I thought was very clever. Let me say that first, because of course, everybody experiences creasing under the eye. Do you need a separate primer for that? No, I think that if you just have a good eyeshadow primer, it will do the same trick, yeah? This actually made my concealer look worse. So this was really not a success. So that one is definitely one that in the end will get decluttered sometime. And then the HD Active Performance SPF 30 Water and Sweat Proof Pore Minimizing Effect Primer by Catrice. I like a lot better than the Essence one. This definitely showed a difference in terms of how long my makeup lasts. So this is definitely one that I will be using more once my current primer runs out. In terms of foundation, there wasn't a whole lot of new stuff, but Essence did bring out this tinted day cream, which I thought might be nice, and I tried it on camera, and as I sat here trying the product for the first time, I thought it was okay. I tried it another couple of times and it's just much too orange. This shade is just much too dark. I thought I could like blend it down my neck a little bit and with a bit of bronzer. From the front, it definitely doesn't look too crazy, but definitely here. And I don't have a very distinct jawline. I just have like an oval face and my face just goes into my neck straight away. So if my foundation shade doesn't match, it's very noticeable because it kind of like will end somewhere around here, which is a bit crazy. So that's why this, if the shade matches you, fine, because the product itself is pretty nice, but the shade just was completely off for me. A shade that wasn't off is the new lighter shade that Catrice launched in their HD Liquid Radiance foundation. This foundation already launched over the summertime for the fall-winter season, and it's supposed to be the more radiant version of their very popular liquid coverage foundation, which I didn't like it because it was too matte and it sort of looked very cakey on me. So I was very happy with this because the foundation itself I already loved, but the lightest shade they did then was a bit too orange, a bit too dark. So they've come out with 005 Ivory Beige, and that's the exact, like it's an exact match. This matches me perfectly. I've been loving this one. Essence didn't come out with a new concealer, but Catrice did. This is the One Drop Coverage Weightless Concealer, full coverage with hyaluron, and it is supposed to be sweat proof. I got this in the lightest shade available, and I've been using it every single day since. I have been trying out other concealers in the meantime, but every single time I'm like, I want my Catrice, I want my Catrice, I want my Catrice. So this is one of my new favorite concealers. I'm not sure why. It's just, it's very similar to like the foundation, that it has like a dropper and it's very liquidy. So you definitely only need a little bit. I used 3 drops, so it's not 1 drop, despite the name, but 3 drops, and that gets me to like cover my forehead, my under eye, my cheeks a little bit, my chin, my nose, sort of like the areas where I need it. I just dot it around, blend it in with a makeup sponge. It doesn't crease very heavily. It looks pretty flawless all day long. It's long wearing. I've been loving this. Powders then. They both came out with new powders too. The You Better Work Fixing Powder. This is just your bog standard white powder. This is really nothing too special. I don't even know whether this is actually any different from their already, like the matte powder that they already have in their line that has like the white transparent shade. I think this is actually like the same powder but in different packaging. You'll probably pay more for it because of that. Catrice came out with the Glow Illusion Loose Powder, and this is actually quite nice. It's just very difficult to get out of the packaging. For a loose powder, this is a very clean powder, but that's because there's hardly any powder that comes through these little gaps, because I feel there just aren't enough holes in the sifter to make this work. So the packaging is a bit of a flaw, but the powder inside is very nice. Liquid highlight then, because that is something that they also came out with. Catrice came out with the Golden Dust Highlighter Drops in Space Gold. Gold highlighters, not really my favorite. I do like their Galactic highlighter drops. That's more my shade, you could say. This also was a little bit patchy on me. I found that when I tried blending this in with a stippling brush, that my foundation underneath kind of broke up. So that wasn't great. Much more successful was Essence with their liquid highlighters, but not both. The Cosmic Cuties, I tried it again a few times. It's just heaps of glitter. I can't blend it out. It attaches to my skin. This is a big fail for me. But the Insta Perfect Liquid Highlighter in the shade 10, In terms of liquid highlight, this is so easy to use. You have a little dropper, you can just tap it in, take a little stipple brush, and you're good to go. This gives such a nice, natural, glowy look to the skin. This is what I wanted these drops to be, but these are much better. The Essence one trump the Catrice ones by a mile. Lip balms was also something that both brands came out with. They're okay, they're nourishing. I'm not currently in the market for a lip balm, but I've tried them a few times and they're okay. I can use these before I do my makeup to make sure my lips are a little bit more moisturized, but other than that, not too fussed. Brows, again, a bit meh. The Catrice Brow Idol Sport Proof Mascara. The concept of this is really nice. It looks like it could be like a dupe for a Benefit Give Me Brow, but this is much too red, and I think this is actually the lightest shade. It's very, very warm, so if you like that look, okay. But this make my brows just look like caterpillars. Like, my brows are not too intense, but I felt it like smudged all the way up to here, and it was such a messy product to work with. It's just a little too liquidy almost, so it kind of like pushes your brow hairs up quite nicely, but then it smudges above that, and I had to go back in with foundation, and then it was too dark, and I had this like brown patch, and that was like, no. The Essence Eyebrow Pencil Micro Precise. This is okay. This is just one of those brow pencils, and I will definitely be using this up when my other brow pencil runs out. It's just, you don't get a whole lot of product. This is very soft. It has a tendency to break, so you will go through this in like 2 weeks. I just know it. And the shade of this is perhaps a little bit on the orange side. So again, I would prefer it to be a little bit more cool toned. Face products then. There were some single bronzers and highlighters that they came out with. There were some single bronzers and highlighters that they came out with. The Bouncy Bronzer by Catrice was the surprise of this entire update for me. It's this like jelly sort of, bouncy sort of texture. I use a little stipple brush, and then you can really sort of stipple it onto your face. It looks so natural. When I swatched this, it looked like it could be like a bronzy eyeshadow. That's how much shimmer this has. But once blended onto the cheeks, it looks so natural. If you're into cream bronzer, I would definitely check this out. The Essence, my Glow Passion highlighter and blush. These look really, really cute, and I had someone leaving me a comment saying, oh, could you send some over? Well, I tried these, and they're really not great. This highlighter is a powdery mess. It's just not really great. It looks very chalky once you apply it. And the blush doesn't really match the highlighter shade because the highlighter is very cool toned. This is very warm toned, but I find that the shade of this blush is just completely off. Like, this blush shade is something my grandma would wear. This just gives you grandma cheeks. That's just, it reminds me of something my mom wore in the 80s. Like, it's not a good look. Not my favorite. Where it's at though are the new face palettes. Both brands came out with new face palettes. The Essence Hey Cheeks is really nice. You get 6 products in each, but they're a little bit different. The Essence one has one lighter highlight, and then it has like a shimmery, well, for me it would be a bronzer, but it's a little bit too dark to even be that. On a darker skin tone, this could of course be a very pretty shimmery highlight, maybe an eyeshadow, something like that. You get 3 blushes and a matte bronzer. This works really well. The pens are a little bit small, so sticking your brush in can be a bit problematic. The blushes are gorgeous. This bronzer works really well. The highlight too. I just have no use for this product here, which is why I like the Catrice one, but just a touch better, because I can use all products in this one. In here, you get 2 highlighters, one a bit more subtle, one a bit more intense, 3 blushes, and a bronzer. The bronzer you have to be very careful with because it does kind of grab on and it can look a little bit patchy. So this means a light hand and blend, 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 blend like there's no tomorrow, and you can make it work. The tone of this is really nice. The blushes are really nice. There's a variety of intensities. You get a matte, a shimmer, and like a satin, so there's some textures too. I really like this palette. It is a little bit more up there in price, especially for drugstore. This is $11.99 here, so that's a bit So if price point is something you're worried about, then definitely go for the Essence one, because the quality of these powders is exactly the same, which is why I'm saying the Catrice only wins because I can use all 6 powders, whereas in this one I can't. But this is also half the price at, I believe, $5.99. So if you're looking for a more affordable option, then the Essence one may be better. Oh, and good to know, by the way, if the Catrice one doesn't suit your skin tone needs, because this is the lightest one, they do 2 more that cater to darker skin tones. So there's one that's more medium and one for darker skin tones. I just got the one, of course, that suits me best. So that's cheeks out of the way. So we also have some eye products, of course. Essence came out with a newer line of like eyeliner pencils, and I really like this. It's very smooth, it's very buttery, very nice to sort of enhance your eyes a little bit if you want to darken up the lash line. Very nice for that. Then they have come out with some new eyeshadow palettes. Catrice came out with these small travel palettes. Like, you could fit these in your back pocket. I think that's the idea behind it as well. This is the Exotic Traveler, and when I looked at this, I was like, it's all shimmer, I'm not sure. And also this teal, this red, how would they play out? I decided to just throw this onto my face and see what would happen. And what actually happens when you blend these together is that it forms a bit of like a plum purple kind of shade. So they actually work really, really well together. And I was able to pull a really nice look out of this. This is only one look, but for travel, this is really nice. Then Catrice also came out with the Suburbia palettes. There's a volume 1, which is warm toned. I went with the volume 2, which is more cool toned. I wish the packaging wasn't like bubbly like this, because now you can't really stack anything on top of it without things falling over. But the shade selection in here is really nice. These aren't the longest lasting eyeshadows. I didn't have problems with fallout. I definitely have problems a bit more with lasting power. I think these work well for like a work day. That time period is, that time span is absolutely fine. It's just that these don't last all day in like a really nice way. The shimmers in here are a little bit, you know, they're prone to fading. Let's just put it that way. The mattes in here are quite nice. You get a good selection of cool tones. They're not too muddy, especially for cool tones, I find. So if you're looking for a more affordable drugstore cool tone palette, then looking into this can be worth it. Essence also came out with some new eyeshadow palettes, and one of them is also cool toned, and I feel very similar to that palette, and that's the Hello New York palette. And this has the same issue. The shades in here are stunning, but this also fades quite quickly, and in this case, it really has to do with the texture. Some of these shimmers are quite like grainy, so I feel that rather than sort of smoothing out on the eye, they stay a little bit flaky, and the flakes just kind of fall down, and that's how the shadow disappears. So where these fade, these flake off. These are also cheaper than these are. Both palettes do a very similar thing, a very similar look. This is a bit more affordable. This is a bit more expensive. And then last but not least, the Good Day Sydney. I picked this up because I really liked the browns and like the green and the blues. And this has less of an issue with fading and flaking off. I just feel that the texture in this is a little bit more smooth. I do have to say that with Essence shadows, it can be a bit tricky. I think that the quality of this one is a little bit better than the Hello New York. A mascara by Essence. This is the You Better Work Volume and Curl Mascara. It's okay. It's just very subtle because I have a lot of issue with the formula of this transferring to my lashes. I definitely have to do a couple of coats for this to show up well because it's a very dry formula. But yeah, so far it doesn't flake off. Once it's on, it's on. It is waterproof, so it is a nice one from that perspective. And then we have two like setting sprays, you could say. This is supposed to be like a priming spray. It refreshes the skin. I think this may be nice to put in my fridge for the summertime to freshen up in the day. It's nice enough. Catrice do some really nice makeup fixing sprays actually, so look into those. And the You Better Work fixing spray. Essence also has some nice, easy, breezy to use, cheap and cheerful makeup fixing sprays that work well. This, is it, you know, Urban Decay all-nighter level, both of these? No, by no means. But they are nice enough and they work quite well. They don't have a funky smell to them. They actually have a very pleasant smell and texture. With the Essence, you do have to make sure that before you use it, you do need to spray it a couple of times because the spritzer on this can be a bit aggressive and it doesn't become a mist until you've made the sprayer work a little bit better. Of course, we're going to be ending on lip products, and they came out with some new glosses, and I'm just not a fan of glosses. So these, to me, I cannot review these and, you know, give a fair review because I don't like gloss at all. I mean, in terms of, as far as gloss goes, these are all fine, but I don't like gloss. So that's all I'm going to say about it. Catrice also came out with the Generation Matte Comfortable Liquid Lipstick. This is not one of those like very drying down liquid lipsticks, so it definitely needs to be reapplied a few times throughout the day, but it is comfortable. The shade is lovely, and I do find that this is so far the best liquid lipstick that Catrice has come out with. They're not the best. This, like for me, a liquid lipstick needs to have that like velvet, dry down, won't go anywhere sort of feel to it. That's what I like in a liquid lip. But if you're more of like a comfortable lip kind of person, then this is a nice one. But the real winners are the new Catrice Power Plumping Gel Lipsticks. I got a red and a nude, and the nude is on my lips right now. I've been wearing this so much in the past month. Like for most of March, this was the only lipstick I wore. It's in the shade Speak Up, and as you can see, it's already worn down quite a bit. These are not my usual favorite, like a matte lip, but they're very comfy. They do need a little bit of reapplying throughout the day, but what I like about this is that this has such a balmy texture that you don't even notice that you're wearing lipstick. It has the pigment of a lipstick, but it feels like a balm. You do get a good color payoff. And this is so easy to reapply, especially because of the shade. I can have lunch, it will wear down, and at my desk, without even using a mirror, I can just wipe this on, and my lipstick still looks good to go. So this is nice, but it does need reapplying. The same goes for the red, but I wore this a lot in February. This is in the shade, ooh, I've forgotten. Isn't it like the future is femme, like feminist, femme, from feminist. And this is also a really, really nice shade. This, if you wear it in a little bit, it becomes a bit of a stain because of the shade, and that's stunning too. So in terms of must-haves, most of them are by Catrice, which tends to be my favorite one out of the two anyways, so maybe I'm a bit biased, who knows? But what I would recommend out of all of this, if you're like, okay, I'm seeing these products being brought out, I want to try some. What are the top 5 products to pick up? The Power Plumping Gel Lipsticks by Catrice. Just find a shade that you like and you're good to go. The One Drop Coverage Concealer by Catrice. Love it. The Bouncy Bronzer by Catrice was a huge surprise to me. As well as the Romantic Gardens Face Palette and the Liquid Highlighter by Essence. I'm not a big fan of gels and liquid like product usually, especially for my face, but these were just really, really big surprises. And in terms of tools, if you don't have one yet and you're looking for a color switch, then this little tool as well. So that's actually a top 6. I'm not playing fair. On that note, we've come to the end of the video. I hope you were able to watch all of it, that it was informative, and that you now have a better idea of what at least I think of everything that I got in terms of Essence and Catrice products. Let me know in a comment down below if you've tried any of these products and maybe you completely disagree with me, or maybe you fully agree with me, who knows. And with that being said, yeah, thumbs up this video if you liked it. Subscribe if you'd like to see more. I wish you a pleasant day. Thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!